Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning and it's 10 a.m. Just seeing if I can balance you up there, maybe. Oh, no. Try balancing you over here. There we go. There you are. Okay, we are in Luke again. We have moved on to Luke chapter 14. So, yeah, we'll give it a minute, see if anybody's going to turn up. But if not, I'll just talk to myself. That's okay. I'm used to that. Aha, a viewer. Hello, viewer. We're going from Luke chapter 14, and it's verses 1 to 14. It's quite a long bit, but it's a good bit. So I'll get started, and we'll see where we go. Luke chapter 14, verses 1 to 14. One Sabbath, when Jesus went to eat in the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched. There in front of him was a man suffering from abnormal swelling of his body. Jesus asked the Pharisees and experts in the law, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not?" But they remained silent. So taking hold of the man, he healed him and sent him on his way. Then he asked them, "If one of you has a child or an ox that falls into a well on the Sabbath day, will you not immediately pull it out?" And they had nothing to say. Then he noticed how the guests picked the places of honour at the table. He told them this parable. "When someone invites you to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honour, for a person more distinguished than you may have been invited. If so, the host who invited both of you will come and say to you, 'Give this person your seat.' Then humiliated, you will have to take the least important place. But when you are invited, take the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he will say to you, 'Friend, move up to a better place.' Then you will be honoured in the presence of all the other guests. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Then Jesus said to his host, "When you give a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or sisters, your relatives or your rich neighbours. If you do, they may invite you back, and so you will be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." Hi, Steph. Okay, so there's quite a lot in this passage. It could have been broken up probably into 3 separate morning devotionals, but I guess we'd never get through Luke if we did that. So I'm going to try and be brief, but there are 3 kind of main points. It's certainly a dinner party that nobody's going to forget in a long time. So they say it was a Sabbath. I don't know whether it was the Friday night, because the Sabbath tended to start in the Friday evening, or whether it was on the Saturday. I'm going to guess that it might have been the Friday night, because that would have been the most elaborate banquet. That's when you would invite all your best friends, all your most important people. So Jesus is invited, but it already says in verse 1 that he's being watched. The Pharisees are already trying to catch him out. So why has he been invited? Has he been invited because they know he's important, or have they invited him to try and catch him out? And then we get to this man with the swelling of his body. I always love old explanations of illnesses. What was that swelling of his body? Did he just have a giant wart? Was there something, some kind of disease that made him have a giant inflated swelling thing on him? Or was it just that he was also a Pharisee who had lived a luxurious life and perhaps was suffering now with some kind of heart failure or liver failure that meant that he was holding water in parts of his body that he shouldn't hold, and basically was a really, really sick man. Anyway, whatever was wrong with him, why was he there? Was he there because, like I said, he was a Pharisee who just happened to be ill? Or was he put there? Was he planted there? Some people suggest that he was a plant, because usually at a Sabbath, at a big Sabbath feast in a Pharisee's house, you wouldn't have anything unclean, because they're obsessed with cleanliness. They're obsessed with things being ritually clean, and if you're ill, you're not clean. So was he there because they were just glad that he was still alive when he was so ill? Or was he there as a plant? Because it seems to be that he was right in front of Jesus, so that Jesus could definitely see him. And so Jesus asks the question, can I heal him? Is it lawful? And then he heals him. And then when he says to the Pharisees, what would you do if it was your son or if it was one of your animals? They've got nothing to say. So do they have nothing to say because they literally don't know? Maybe. But you could have at least said, hey, this is amazing, like our friend, this guy, he was ill and now he's better. You'd think they could at least manage that, but they're the Pharisees, so I guess not. So then we move on. You'd think that would be enough for one Sabbath day, one healing. That's shocking enough. That's enough to write home about. But he goes on. He starts looking around at the guests, and he sees them trying to sit in the best seat. And I know people that I've come across in my life who are always trying to get close to that important person, whether it be a boss in work or the pastor in church, or when someone famous comes, and you try and get close to them. You want to be sat near them, you want to be involved with what they're doing, you want to make sure that they're talking to you in the meeting and they're engaging with you. I think maybe there's a part of all of us that does that. I've probably done it at some point. But Jesus rebukes that in the people there. He rebukes the people who are trying to gain for themselves, because humility is what Jesus looks for, and it's really hard to seek after humility, because somehow if we push too hard to be humble, it's almost arrogant in the way that we do it. So it's a really difficult one, humility. It's really difficult to practice. But I think the parable is quite a good example to always take the lower seat, to always take the least position, and then allow the people around you, allow God, more importantly, to exalt you, to elevate you, to bring you forward. Because if you start reaching and pushing for a position that's not yours, then, like the parable says, what does it look like when you're then put down? So again, you'd think that'd be enough for one Sabbath meal, but Jesus goes on. He's rebuked those people, and now he looks at the host and he says, you shouldn't be inviting all these people. You shouldn't be inviting the people who can repay you. You need to be inviting the least, the last, the lost, the people who are on the edges, the people that nobody loves. That's what we need to be doing. You know, it's all very well hanging out with your friends. That's fun. I love hanging out with my friends. You know, I love having all my friends over. I love spending time with the people that I know and I love. And there is always a time for that. But there also has to be a time for loving the unlovable, loving the ones on the outskirts. We've got to look for them. We've got to invite them in. We've got to love them too. In fact, we've got to love them more. Because it's not about us. It's not about bringing ourselves joy by hanging out with our friends. It's about Jesus, and it's about his mission and his gospel. And so we've got to love other people. We've got to let them into our lives. And I love that. Watch out for the undercover Pharisees. They are everywhere. Yeah, and I think sometimes we can be the undercover Pharisees. It's really easy, isn't it, to cling on to, oh, but this is how I think we should do it. Oh, there's someone at my door. Hello? Hi.
Could I use your toilet?
Yes, of course you can.
Thank you.
Look at that. We never had a visitor to our daily devotionals before. That's exciting. So yeah, hidden Pharisees. Make sure that you're not one. That would be my biggest advice. We've just been chatting in a meeting in there about what Chris said last night or yesterday morning in our church service about giants, and about making sure you're not someone's giant, because it's so easy to go, oh my goodness, look at that Pharisee, look at that giant that's in my way, look at that person who's being a problem. But then we forget to look at ourselves, and we forget to see that sometimes we can be the Pharisee and we can be the giant in the way. So, in summary, healing on the Sabbath, good. Well done, Jesus. More important to love people, more important to offer mercy than it is to stick by the rules. Don't seek after prideful things, look for humility. And lastly, love everyone, not just your friends. Okay, I think I've been a bit long this morning, so sorry about that. But you'll see me again, I think I'm doing Wednesday. So I'll see you live Wednesday morning. Have a good Monday and Tuesday. Bye!